Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And for 18 years, we've been telling this story about how you can save money on interest. I'm talking about a lot of money. For a long time, this industry has been charging about 75% more interest than they need to charge. And us not knowing how an amortization schedule actually works, we have been paying it. Listen, if you have a mortgage, pull out your mortgage statement today and take a look at that thing and see how much money goes to principal. That means the money that you borrowed, and how much goes to interest. That is rent on your money. Interest is nothing more than rent on your money. We're going to talk about today how to control the rent on your money. And listen, and especially these days when the interest rates are hovering around 7.5%, here is the story we are being told: marry the house and date the rate. How many have heard that? Put it in the chat. If you've heard that before, put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat if you've heard marry the house, but date the rate. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. Marry the house. So what they're saying, ladies and gentlemen, is go ahead and get the house you want. If you can afford the payment at this particular interest rate, then when the rates drop, you can always refinance to get a lower rate. Okay. Now, let me ask you something about that. If, Lord have mercy, if you're saving money, okay, if you are saving money by refinancing, who has to be losing it? Put it in the chat for me. If you are saving money by refinancing, who has to be losing money? Can anybody tell me? Come on, put it in the chat. Go ahead and put it in the comment section if you're watching us online. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see us online, we are live right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you want to see this, if you want to see the examples we're going to be putting on the screen, I have a link in the chat already to go to that will take you to YouTube. Now, all right. Let's see. The original loan, yeah, exactly. Mr. G, 1804 says, if I am saving money by refinancing, then the loan originator or whoever holds my paper is losing money. So if that's the case, why then is your own bank? Why then is your own bank looking to refinance you to save you money? Has everybody ever asked that question? Not a different bank, but my own bank or my own mortgage company is going to call me up and say, listen, it's time to save money, Don. Interest rates have dropped. So why don't you go ahead and we have you in the 7.5% loan where we're making a lot of money, but now we're going to offer you a lower interest rate where we're going to make less money. Now, put it like that. Does it actually make sense that your bank or your mortgage company would offer you a lower interest rate? How does that work for them? If you're saving money, that means they're losing money. Listen, folks, if you are in business, how many of you are in business in here? All right. How many of in business? How many of you are in business? Okay. So, and if whatever product or service that you have, whatever the product or the service, and I wish somebody would come up to the stage and talk to me about this. Raise your hand. Come on up. Okay. If you are in business and you have a product or a service that's not selling or you're not making money on, do you keep that as part of your repertoire, as part of your product offering or the service that you offer? Are you going to continue to push that product or service if you're not making money on it? You tell me, yes or no. Okay. If you're not making money on it, are you going to keep that product or service, or are you going to switch it out for something else? Ladies and gentlemen, If by refinancing, I'm saving money and the bank is losing money, then why is every bank under the sun and mortgage company offering refinancing? Why are they doing it? Because we both can't win here. We both can't save money. We both can't make money on the deal. Okay? I mean, when you take a look at that interest, I'm going to put something on the screen right now for everybody to see. If you want to see this, please go to my YouTube channel, the P.I.L.L Method YouTube channel. I have the link in the chat. And if you click on it or you can copy it, maybe you can go ahead and put it into your computer, your laptop, or maybe another phone, and you can actually see what we're getting ready to put on the screen right now. So let me get this ready for you, and we'll talk about it this morning. So we're going to share this particular screen. There we go. Screen number 3, and there it is. All right. So we're going to bring that up, and I've got to switch over. All right. I got to switch this over. So we'll add this to the stage. And now we've got to change this so that everybody can see. All right. Well, everybody can see what's going on. Let's see here. There we go. We need this one. There we go. Now, here is a $350,000 mortgage at 7%, 7.5%. All right. Now, all of this is predicated upon the fact that the person with this loan can afford the loan. All right. Now, let me say this. I got a comment here. Ann says, thank you. How you doing, Ann? All right. She's watching us on YouTube. Mr. G is watching us on YouTube. And we have several people here on Clubhouse that are listening in and may be watching as well. So here we go, folks. If you have this loan, all right, that means you can afford it. And what I'm asking, what I want to share with you is, if you need a lower payment, that's one thing. But a lot of people just want a lower payment because that's what they've been told and that's what they feel better about. But they don't know what type of financial position they can be in by understanding how an amortization schedule actually works and can benefit you even at a higher interest rate. Okay. So here's the thing you want to know. Here's the thing you want to understand. A low interest rate does not mean a low interest cost. All right. We're going to make a note of that. Okay. Let's make a note of that right now. Let's write that down. I'm going to put it in my notes so we can go over it a little later. Low interest rate. Okay. Does not mean low interest cost. All right. So here's what I want everybody to know. When you get a loan, it's like any other thing. What you're buying money. Okay. You're buying something, and that you're buying money, you're buying a service, you're buying the ability so that somebody can provide funds for you so that you can get a house or a car or whatever, or education or whatever it is, that because you don't have the cash readily available. So here's what you want. I want to pay the least amount of interest cost that I can. How much actual money in dollars and cents am I paying for this thing? Folks, interest rate means nothing. Zero. Interest rates have always been a liar. Okay, so on this, listen, I need you to see something right here, and we're going to prove it right here. $350,000 at 7.5%. When I close on this thing, they have to tell me how much interest I'm going to pay if I keep the loan for 30 years, right? Well, listen, total interest paid on this is $531,000. $531,000 is what they want me to pay on a $350,000 loan, which means if I pay the loan back the way they want me to, for my $350,000 house, I will end up paying $881,000. Ladies and gentlemen, does anybody in here want to pay $881,000 for a $350,000 house? Do you really sign up to do that? Listen, we want to make sure that you're extremely clear on what is really happening here. So when we take a look at 7.5%, does it really mean 7.5%? No. 7.5% means, I need you to look over here. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 151.717%. That's what we need to take a look at. I'm paying more in interest than I'm actually borrowing in principal, but they want all of it. They want the principal that I borrowed plus all of the interest that they're looking for. $531,000, over $500,000 in interest. Man, that's 1.5 houses for the bank and 1 house for me. Anybody interested in that deal? 1.5 houses for the bank, 1 house for you. I need you to focus in on this thing right here. Okay. So most times when you're going, if you have this idea that I'm going to keep this loan until the interest rates drop, and then I'm going to refinance it. Okay. All right. So we don't know when that is, but I'm telling you, you would not be in this loan if you couldn't afford it right here. Okay. For most cases, you would not be in this loan if you could not afford it. But now when the interest rates drop, what entices you to refinance your loan? Well, something in there says you're going to save money. There's something about it, refinancing at this point, even though you could afford this payment, is somehow you're saving money. Okay. When you're talking about saving money, are you talking about saving money how? Are you talking about I'm going to actually, my monthly payment is going to be less? Or are you talking about the overall amount of interest that I pay is going to be less? That's what we have to take a look at, folks. What does it cost long term to borrow this money? And stop looking at what's right in front of your face. My payment every month. Let's get out of that idea of looking at just my payment and look at what is it going to cost me to manage this loan long term, and can I pay less money in interest to acquire the same asset? That's the question we need to ask. And is there anything I can do about it? Let me show you what happens in 5 years. Let's say we can refinance this thing in 5 years. So I need you to take a look at this $350,000 mortgage at 7.5%. The payment is $2,447.25. It is a payment we can afford. We can afford that. All right. And I see Nicole. Thank you for watching us. And we got Ian Pedley in here from Australia. He's watching us on YouTube. All right. Nicole is watching us on YouTube. And I probably am not pronouncing your name correctly, but I'm sorry. But anyway, thank you for being here. All right. And everyone else here that's on Clubhouse as well. I need to go down 5 years. That's 60 months into this loan. I want to show you something that everybody needs to be aware of. Do this for yourselves. I'm using as a teaching tool BrettWhistle.net. BrettWhistle.net is a great amortization calculator because it gives us cumulative principal. It adds up all your principal payments and cumulative interest. All right. There you go. And let me see here. Let me put this in the chat. Brett Whistle, BRET Whistle, WHISSEL.net. BrettWhistle.net. And let me see here. Select all. We're going to copy that and we'll put it in the chat on Clubhouse. We're also going to put it here. All right. Paste for everybody else to see as well. BrettWhistle.net. And says full house, please. Okay. Let me see. I don't know what that means. All right. Let's see here. Paste that. BrettWhistle.net. There we go. So now you can see that as well. If you use BrettWhistle.net, okay, you can do this. You can do these examples yourself. Watch the video over again and you start plugging these numbers in so that you can practice understanding what the banks are doing and what we can do about it. Okay. This is my teaching tool. This is not my program. My program is completely different. It is a cloud-based computing platform. All right. That is driven by artificial intelligence that does all of the math that guides us into what to do and when, how much money to move, what month to move it in, what day of the month to move it on, and which loan to attack. And our program will then calculate the highest amount of interest savings per transaction. So we're going to save you the most interest that any program on the planet can save you. All right. So, but this is a teaching tool. So let's go down to 60 months and take a look at this. 60 months in. This is cumulative principal. How much have we paid this loan down by in 60 months? Okay, 5 years. $18,838.91 has gone to principal. How much did the bank charge? How much did the bank charge to do that? $27,996.09. $127,000, almost $128,000 in interest just to pay your loan down by $18,800. I've got to ask the question, do you think $127,900 is too much to pay for $18,000 in equity? Paying your loan down by $18,000. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that a crazy amount of money? So here's what I need you to understand about this loan. The way that amortization works is the bank has set up a system that they can charge us every single month for 360 months. So it's not one mortgage times 7.5%. It's 360 separate mortgages, because when you make your very first payment, $259.75 goes to principal. $2,187.50 goes to interest. And now you have a new loan. Now you don't owe $350,000 anymore. You owe $349,740.25. So what does the bank have to do? They have to charge you again the next month because you still have their money. When they charge you the next month, because you don't owe as much, your interest cost is going to be less than it was the first month. So let's take a look at the interest cost on line 2 of this amortization schedule. Oh, it goes all the way down to $2,185.88. What? Not even $2 difference. Not even $2 difference. It goes from $2,187.50 to $2,185.88. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but if we keep doing it the bank's way, where we pay on time every month, let me show you something. $2,000, $2,100, listen, look at all these $2,000 payments we're making. We get so used to making the mortgage payment, we forget all about how much interest we're paying every single month. That's why when you get an amortization schedule from your bank, when you get an amortization schedule from your bank, they only give you 3 columns: principal, interest, okay, and principal balance. That's all they do for you. They will not add up for you how much principal and how much interest you are paying at any given time. In just the first year on this loan, you only pay the loan down by $3,200. But look how much interest you pay: $26,140.59. Here is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, and keep this in the back of your mind. You don't have to use the bank's timing. You don't. You borrowed the money. Give the money back to the bank when it makes sense for you. And you don't have to pay them all of that interest. I'm going to give you just one quick example, and then I'm going to get into the meat of this thing of why marry the house, but date the rate. I don't need you. No, listen, stop believing that. Okay. But here is what I need you to see. If we're going to pay this house down by $3,226.41, that's all the principal payments added up for 1 year. Here's my question. Do I have to pay that money in 12 monthly installments? Okay. $3,226.41. If I had it, I'm just saying, if you had it, do you have to give it to them in 12 monthly installments? Or if you could you give it to the bank all at one time? Think about that. You see, if I give them this money all at one time, then they can't charge me all of these interest rates, all these interest costs every single month. So if I'm paid down to line 12 in 1 month, look at this. If I'm paid down to line 12 in 1 month, see, some people don't believe me. They listen down. We need to see the math. So we're going to put a calculator on the screen. All right. I have a loan of $350,000. And so we're going to subtract 3,226.41. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to subtract 3,000. Okay. 3,226.41 equals 346,773.59. That's the same thing that's on line 12. Same thing. 346,000. So I could give them this money, $3,000, in 12 monthly installments if I wanted to. Or if I had it, I could give it to them all at one time. And if I did, I'd be paid down here in 1 month. If I did, look at this. All the interest costs between line 2 and line 12 are gone. They've been eliminated. They've been canceled. 11, listen to me now. 11 $2,100 payments have just been eliminated from this loan and from your life if you do that. Wow. So if that's the case, folks, I need you to keep that in mind while we take a look at, we're in this loan for 5 years. Okay. Keep that in mind as we take a look at this. We're in this loan for 5 years. We paid it down by $18,000. We already paid $127,000 in interest if we do it like the bank says. Okay. And here's what we owe: $331,161.09. And now the interest, let's say the interest rates dropped to 5.5. I owe this now. What can I do? All right. So we're going to pull up a new loan where we owe $331,161.09. All right. And it's at 5.5% interest rate, 5.5. All right. So if we're at 5.5% interest rate, look at my new payment is $1,880.30. Ooh, the payment is less. But do you realize when people refinance, more than 90% of the time, they get a new 30-year loan. Think about it. You are in the loan for 7 years already. I mean, for 5 years already. And now you get a new 30-year loan. Do you know the driving force, the main component in lowering your payment is not the interest rate? That's not the main component. The main component of lowering your payment every month is they're taking what you owe and dividing it by a new 360 months. That's the main component that's lowering your payment. So we just signed up. Yes, Nicole, yeah, the 30-year clock starts over. Yes, you're right. That's what she says. Okay, let me put this on the screen. The 30-year clock starts over. She's just said. All right. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. All right. So if we understand this, I've got a 30-year loan. I'm sorry, I have a 30-year loan. I've been in it for 5 years, and now I refinance. I get a new 30-year loan. Is that a 35-year mortgage? Is that 35 years? And guess what? Every 5 to 7 years, people refinance their homes for whatever reason. Interest rates drop, or they get a new loan, or they get a new house. Whatever the reason, they're getting a brand new mortgage every 5 to 7 years on average. Going from 30 to 35, 5 years later, they get a new one. Now it's a 40-year loan. And then they do it again and it's 45. Are you hearing me? Okay. Ian Pedley says, yep. You know why he says yes to this? He's in Australia. He's actually a mortgage lender, and he's an MLO, mortgage loan originator in Australia. You know why he says yep? Because he sees his same clients come back to him every 5 to 7 years to get a new loan for something or other. Whether they're refinancing to take cash out, they're refinancing to get a lower interest rate, or they're refinancing, or they're getting a brand new mortgage because they bought a new house. Whatever the reason, every 5 to 7 years, we go back to the bank to get more money. And we just keep adding it on, adding it on, adding it on. And we don't understand that. And we don't understand why all of a sudden at age 55, when we've got like 7 years to retirement, we're only 5 years into a 30-year loan. We've got 7 years to retirement, and all of a sudden we realize, my goodness, I've had this loan for almost 30 years, and I still owe a bunch of money because of this. Now, I need you. Momlet and Me says bottomless pit of revolving debt. Yes, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We can take control of this thing. Now, I need folks to tell me, do you want to know how you can take advantage of this loan, of this mortgage, of your other debt without them taking advantage of you? How would you like to be able to take advantage of this? Now, I'm all for borrowing money. I am. I just don't want to give the bank all that interest when I borrow it. I want to borrow money at a discount. I need you to see what's going on here when we do this. So now I paid the first loan down. If you're new to the room, go to the chat and you'll see the link to the YouTube channel so you can see these numbers. Okay. We started out with a $350,000 loan, and we paid it down but in 5 years, so that we paid it off by $18,838. We paid $127,000 in interest, and now we're down to $331,161.09. Here is the amount that we're going to refinance. But that's not all there is. Remember, when you refinance, there's going to be closing costs. The average amount these days is somewhere between 8 and 10,000, but I've seen it as high as $17,000 to refinance. $17,000 if they roll into a loan. Let's keep it at 10,000. So that means we don't owe 331,000. We owe 341,000. Okay, we're going to change our payment from $1,880 to 1937. So it's not that much different. Not that much difference. Okay, we added on $10,000. Okay, that's the closing cost. I want to show you what happens to each person who refinances these loans to get a lower, just to get a lower interest rate. Just to get a lower interest rate when they roll the closing costs into the loan. They're not looking at the fact that I've got to pay back the $10,000 first to get back to the original $331,000 I had when I paid the loan down in the first place. It took me 5 years to get it down to $331,000. It took me 5 years to get it there. Okay? And now I'm back to 341,000. So let's see how long it takes us now to get down to $331,000. Well, in the first year, I only pay the loan down by $4,595.81. That's just the first year. How much interest have we paid to borrow? When you roll the cost into your mortgage, you're borrowing the money. You're borrowing the $10,000. And you just paid back 4,500 of those dollars, and it cost you $18,649.15 to do it. Have you ever thought about that? Rolling those costs into the loan, how much it actually costs you? When you're sitting down with a loan officer and they're telling you all the great benefits of refinancing, are they telling you this part here? Okay. And so it takes, so now that's the first year. Year two, we paid this loan down by $9,450.85. So we're already into this thing 24 months. Okay. 2 more years, and we're still not at the 331,000 we had when we first refinanced the loan. We're not there yet. Okay. And now we're at 26 months. 26 months. We're now finally paid off the $10,000. We just paid off the $10,000. We're back to the $331,000. We're right back there where we were before. Okay. But it took us over 2 years to get there. It took us 2 years to get back to where we were. And guess how much interest it costs to pay off the first $10,000? $40,000 in interest. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just got to ask you, is it worth it? Is it worth it to refinance, to get that lower payment? But what does it cost me to get that lower payment? Okay. I need you to add it up. $10,000 that additional money that I borrowed just to get the lower payment. And then the $40,000 in interest it cost me to pay back the $10,000. Folks, that's $50,000 all day. It cost $50,000 in just 2 years on this loan, just so that I could lower my payment by what? $500 or $600 a month. But it's going to cost me 50 grand. No one is pointing this out. No one is pointing that out. Listen, if you have 50 grand to spend, can I show you a better way to spend your 50 grand? Can I show you a better way to spend your 50 grand instead of giving it to the bank? Watch this. Let's go back to the original loan. Okay. Now, I need you to think about this. Okay. We're talking about marry the house, but date the rate. Momlet in me says here, she says, it's it is more expensive. 50K plus 26 months plus the other 5 years. 37. It's a 37-year mortgage. She's doing the math, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. If you add it up, if you keep adding it up, it doesn't make sense to do this. This is why the lending industry is in the business. They're in the business of making money. They're not in the business of saving us money. They're not. Okay? They're not in the business of making. Let me put this on the screen. You guys have to see this. All right? It's more expensive. 50K plus 26 months plus the other 5 years. Listen, it all adds up to more money, more time. More money, more time. All right? Nicole, Nicole says, no, it's not worth it. Okay? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you could afford the payment, it's not worth it. Let me show you something. Let's go back to the original. We're going to go back to the original loan where I have $350,000 at 7.5%. I need you to focus in on this. Look at these principal payments, $259 compared to how much money is going to interest. But I need you to focus on the real deal here. How much am I paying back? How this thing is set up. How much am I paying the bank to purchase my equity or purchase my house from the bank? And in the first month, I'm paying them $259.75. But how much are they charging me? $21.87.50. But they set it up that way so that they can charge me every single month. Now, once this thing is set up, ladies and gentlemen, once the ink is dried on that payment, they can't change the rules. I need you to write that down. They can't change the rules once you sign the paper. I'm going to show you how to use the rules to your advantage. Okay? Because it says in your document that you can prepay this mortgage. Prepaying means you can give the bank money in the time you want to give it to them, not at the time they are asking for it. Okay? It's not a dictate, ladies and gentlemen. It's something that they're asking for. They're asking you to pay them a minimum payment every month for 360 months. They're not demanding it. They're asking it. So if I owe somebody some money, if it benefits me, why not just give it back to you when it makes sense for me? Can I give you just one small example? Let's say you pay your very first mortgage payment. Let's call it January. And now I can see how much will I pay them in February to go towards my loan, $261.37. Well, if I can see that ahead of time, all right, I paid January's payment and I'm still in January and I can see on the schedule, $261. Do I have to wait till February to give the bank that $261? Put it in the chat. Okay. Do I have to wait till February to give the bank that $261? All right. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comment section. Do I have to wait? Okay. Here's the everybody. LA is in the house. Lakina says no. Watching us on Facebook. Momlet and me says no, watching us on YouTube. Okay. So if I paid that, if I give that to the bank, I can prepay it. That means I'm paid down to here. Guess what I just did? Remember when I told you, if you let them, they will charge you 360 times just by giving them just as little as $261.37 early. I'm paid down to line 2 on my mortgage already. And then my next payment for February is on line 3. Okay. I gave them $261 when I wanted to, and I eliminated one line from my mortgage. In fact, I turned it from 360 monthly payments, that they can charge me. I just turned it into 359 monthly payments that they can charge me, which means I got rid of one of those very big interest payments. I got rid of the interest payment on line two, $2,185.88. They can't charge me that now because they need this number on line one to charge me $2,185.88. But the bank's computers never saw the what I owed here, the $349,740. They only saw the $349,478.88. That's all they saw. So they can only charge me on this number, which means it gives me these two numbers here. So this $2,185.88, I just eliminated. They can't charge me. Ooh wee. Now, what if we did this? Okay. If you know that, maybe you have a couple of extra bucks in the bank. I don't know. What if we did this? I make that mortgage payment and then I give them the next three. 1, 2, 3 principal payments. Now, my program doesn't work like this. I'm just using Brett Whistle to make these examples for you. Okay. Because I talked to somebody last night, ladies and gentlemen. I talked to somebody last night. He says, I got so excited about what you were doing. I went to my account and I wanted to pay the bank an extra principal payment right away. And yes, but you want to know how much interest you're saving. And could you save more interest if you just gave them the right amount of money? Let us work with you. Yes, you can do this on your own. But if you work with us, I guarantee you can save a lot more interest if you work with us. Okay. But anyway, let's just say we make that payment and then we do 3 of these. I'm going to give them $261.37, $263.01, and $264.65. Okay. A little over $700. A little over $700. I'm going to give it to them out of my bank account. Guess what happens? I eliminate this interest payment, I eliminate this interest payment, and this interest payment. Okay, that is over $6,400 worth of interest I don't have to pay now because I gave them a little over $700 up front. I chose when to give the bank that $700. And because I chose when to give the bank that $700, I don't have to pay them over $7,000 in interest. What do you all say about that? Okay. Now, let's get back to the real deal here. Instead of marry the house and date the rate, what we could look at is this. Remember when I said that that we paid the bank an extra $50,000? Let's take a look at your budget. How much money do you have left over after paying your bills? I mean, if you track it, okay? If you track it, how much money do you have left over? How can we use that money that's left over after paying all of your bills and having some fun? Okay, we put that in a bank account and then draw it out every 3 to 5 months and apply it to this mortgage. Let's just say that every 4 months or so, I can pull out about $5,000. Okay, I could save up every 4. Let's say I have enough left over that every 4 months I can save up $5,000. I'm just saying. All right, I'm just picking out some numbers here. Okay, so if I have $5,000 in the bank, could I take $5,000 and apply it to this loan here? Okay. If I did, look what happens. $5,000 knocks off, look at this. If I make my regular mortgage payment and put $5,000 with it, I knock off about 19 payments already. Boom, gone. How much interest did I save? $40,000 in interest by doing that. And I'm already down to here. Okay, I'm already down to here. But then remember, it's going to take me, I just knocked off about 19 months. Okay, let's round it off to 20 months. Let's just round it off to 20. Okay. And I put $5,000 on, but it takes me about 4 months to save it up. So in the next 4 months, so that I'm going to do this one, I just make the minimum payment. Okay. This one, minimum payment. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I just made the next 4 months, but I was able to save up $5,000 again. Could I put that $5,000 on this mortgage again and knock off another 20 months? Ooh, 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 ooh. So if I do another 20 months, so this would be 12 months to here. Okay. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Look here. Now I'm down to here. Now I'm down to here. So listen, if I'm going to spend $50,000, let me spend my $50,000 doing this. Okay. Where not only in just 5 months. Okay. So first month I did that and knocked off some time. I did 4 months again. So now in 5 or 6 months, I'm way down here on my amortization schedule. And look how much interest I've already saved, over $80,000 in interest that I never have to pay the bank with money I'm able to put in my savings account and attack this loan with. What? So if I could do that with $50,000, so that means that's 10 times I could do that. Listen, folks, if I could just, if I skip down this thing by 10 times, listen, I could be way down here in my loan, way down to here, where I could knock off over 10 years off this loan. In the first 5 years I'm in this mortgage, I can knock off 120 payments or more, 132 payments I've knocked off here. If I could take that $50,000, look at this. If I could take $50,000 and apply it to this loan, I could be down to here, where I've saved over $200,000 in interest. If I'm going to spend $50,000, why don't I do that instead of refinancing and paying $50,000 just to pay off the fee that it cost me to refinance? I could be down to here with my $50,000, where I knock off over 10 years off this current mortgage. Wow, wow, wow. So folks, why marry the house and date the rate and keep refinancing when you could take your money and do something like this? Let me put my link to the top of the page. Okay. ice10k.com. We're going to put that up there. All right. Let's put the link up. Pin the link. ice10k.com. That's the link, ladies and gentlemen. ice10k.com. We're going to put that across the screen here. All right. So that you can get, why don't you get a savings and earnings report? Okay. Get a savings and earnings report today. All right. Let me see here. Let's get that off the screen. All right. Get a savings and earnings report today. Go to ice10k.com and get a savings and earnings report. Why? So that we can so we can stop listening to people who are saying stuff like marry the house and date the rate. If you can afford your house now, get it. But what you want to do is, how can you take advantage of the rate you have now? Can I show you the difference while we're looking at that, while you're thinking about getting getting a house at these higher interest rates? Let me show you the benefit of the higher interest rates. Would you like to see that? Okay. Would you like to see that? So I've got, let's just say from the very beginning, you need to remember this: control the principal payment and you control the loan. Look at these small principal payments. Once I make a payment, I can come up with a small amount of money to kill a lot of interest. Even if I even if I could come up with $130, which would be about half of this, it would still save me over $1,000 in interest I don't have to pay. Wow. Okay. But what if we did this? Duplicate this tab. We have the $350,000 mortgage. Okay. And I'm going to change this to 5.5 right away. 5.5. I want to show you something very interesting. Okay. Everybody's trying to get the lower interest rate, get the lowest interest rate, get the lowest interest rate. And if you can't get the lowest interest rate, wait until you can get the lowest interest rate. Well, let me tell you something about the lowest interest rate in this case. If you want to see these numbers, go to YouTube. I got the link in the chat. Okay. Go to YouTube so you can see this if you're on Clubhouse. 350,000 at 5.5. In the first year, I pay this loan down by $4,714.80. I pay this down by $4,714. Okay, but look at my principal payments. Look at here. They start out at 383, then 384, then 386. I need you to see what would happen. Now, if I prepay that $4,714, I could be paid down to here in just 1 month. But $4,000, $4,700 at the higher interest rate does this. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. $4,700 takes me all the way down to line 17 on my amortization schedule at the higher interest rate. What? Because my principal payment is smaller. Look at this. I start out at 259, 261. At the lower interest rate, look at my principal payment. So meaning, here's what I mean. If I make this payment here, I have to come up now. If I want to knock out one whole month, I have to come up with $384.85 to knock out one whole month. Whereas all I have to do is come up with $261 at the 7.5 interest rate to knock out 1 month worth of interest. Who's telling you that? Who's telling you that you have more control over your loan at this interest rate? So if you can afford the payment, now listen, if this is the house you want, I need you to hear me clearly. If this is the house you want, but the payment is not in your budget, do what you need to do to get the payment in your budget. Okay. I'm not talking about just pay any old amount just to take advantage of this opportunity here. Get the payment where you need it to be. But if you can afford this, take advantage of these smaller principal payments. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear because some of you have parents that are watching this right now. You're not saying anything. Some of you have parents who have paid off mortgages. Some of you have grandparents who've paid off mortgages years ago when the interest rates were like 12 to 18%. 12 to 18%. You've heard the stories. So you said, how in the world were they able to do it at 12 and 18%? Let me show you something here. I'm going to put in a loan here. Okay. Open a new tab. Okay. I'm going to put in a $60,000 mortgage because remember, this is years ago. And interest rates in the let's see, was it late 70s, early 80s? Got up to 18%. 18% interest on these loans. Let me show you something. I got $60,000 at 18%. Here's the payment, $904.25. Okay. That's at 18%, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to see what happens to this loan at 18%. Look at this. Look at the principal payment, $4.25. $4.25. Look how much is going to interest, $900. Now you tell me, based on what you've learned today, if this was your loan, all you would have to come up with is an extra $4.31 to knock out nearly $900 in interest. Who was telling the people that? So they paid these loans off because they didn't realize that these small principal payments were actually working for them. Let me show you something. Oh my gosh. When you add up all the principal payments for 1 year, that's $55.43. Are you telling me, Don, that on this particular loan, that an extra $55.43 would knock out 1 year's worth of payments on this mortgage? I most certainly am. That's exactly what I'm telling you. Okay. But what if you were fortunate? What if you were fortunate to get a 12% loan? Okay. Let's knock it down to 12%. Okay. Let's say it was 12. Still, the payment now is $617.17 on a $60,000 mortgage. All right. And now we can take a look at, well, shoot, the principal payment is still $17. How much damage could you do to this loan if your principal payments were only $17? Does this listen, ladies and gentlemen, is this making sense to you? Listen, put a fire emoji in the chat if this makes sense to you, where we don't have to be afraid anymore of higher interest rates. We can take advantage of the higher interest rates because we're learning how to read this thing. Put a fire emoji in the chat if this is making sense to you right now. Okay. Christina Daniel puts 3 fire emojis in there. That's my niece. Okay. She loves the information. She's not doing it because I'm her uncle. She's doing it because it makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be afraid of the higher interest rates. You just need to learn how to read this thing. And that's why we're here 3 times a week teaching that you don't need to listen to Veronica is put. Let me put this here. Let me put this on the screen. That's Christina Daniel. That's my niece. Okay. Veronica's putting a fire emoji chat in here. All right. Do I have anybody on Clubhouse that wants to come to the stage? Anybody? All right. To talk about it. If you want to see these numbers, go to YouTube, and I have the link in the chat. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This is why I'm telling you, we've been here for an hour. So I want to go over why it is so important for us. Sharon M. Jones put some fire emojis in the chat as well. Thank you very much, Sharon. She's watching us on YouTube. All right. She's watching us on YouTube. So if I take a look at this thing, all right, what we're being told, marry the house, date the rate. I'm telling you, don't believe that. Take advantage of the loan you have. All right. And you can take that same money. You'll be putting into other loans by trying to lower the interest rate. You can take this money and just make great strides into this loan and knock off. Oh, see, we talked about $50,000 we were spending on that other loan in just 2 years. Let me show you something. $50,000 on this loan. If you're going to spend it, put it here and knock off 127 payments. Maybe you can't do it all at one time. Okay. Maybe you can't do it all at one time, and you're not supposed to, but you can do it in small increments, and you will be here in no time, because any money that you place on principal skips a lot of payments. You skip a lot of payments when you put money on principal. Even if it's listen, on this loan, let's say you have $1,000 left over after all the bills are paid. In 3 months, you have $3,000. Look what $3,000 does. $3,000 knocks off a year on this loan. Even if you have $1,000 left over, let's say you only have $500 left over. In 3 months, you have $1,500. Okay, that still knocks off half a year. Are you catching my drift here? You don't need a lot of money because the bank gave you the cheat code. They say we set up a payment structure that we need to charge you small amounts of we need to charge you large amounts of money to pay your loan down by small amounts. You paying your loan down by small amounts, then we get to charge you big chunks of interest to do that. Well, if you give them the small amount of money ahead of time, then they can't charge you the big chunk of interest because this is why it's not taught in schools. This is why real estate agents don't know this. This is why mortgage loan officers don't know this. This is why we don't know this, is because they are depending on the fact that because you have a payment you can afford, you will not begin to realize that if you give me these small payments up front, I can't charge you the big interest on the back end. Wow, wow, wow. So folks, stop listening to that. Marry the house and date the rate. I don't want to date the rate and then go and what happens when you date around? Okay. What happens when you date around? Okay. As much as the banks want you to date around and get a new interest rate, listen, you can end up with a disease dating around that much. Come on now. Listen, marry the house and stick with the house. Marry the house and stick with the house. All right. That's what marriage is all about. Don't be dating around. You're going to catch something like, terminal mortgage interest. You don't want it. You just don't want it. Okay? Stop dating around. Get the loan you need to get, and then learn how to make the best of it. So if you work with us from the beginning, go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. I'm going to get this off the screen here and we're going to go to this. All right. And back to here and get this off the screen. Okay. Now, here's what you need. Here's what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen. We need to understand how we can get, Veronica says, thank you for empowering us to marry and not to date. Okay, Veronica. I hear you. All right. Listen, don't be a continual dater. Go ahead and get married and learn how to take advantage of that thing. All right. So now go to ice10k.com and get a savings and earnings report today. It's free. ice10k.com. Let me go ahead and put that on the screen for you. All right. Because I'm changing screens here. All right. We need to put in ice10k.com. All right. We're going to go over that right now. I've got that changed. So we're going to go back and we're going to take my rear facing camera off, and we're going to go to this banner. There we go. And we're going to bring this screen back. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is my digital business card, ice10k.com. All right. And you'll scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see a button that says Get a Savings and Earnings Report. You click on that, and this screen comes up. Get your free savings report. It's free. Do step one, get the information, put it into step one. And then once you successfully do step one, then we'll take you into step two, where you can actually put in your financial information. Okay. We just need to confirm it using your email address. We're going to send you an email. You confirm it, and then we'll let you into part two. Okay. Get into part two, put all your information in, and then my team will give you a call back and verify your information in there. We'll verify that information. Once the information is verified, you can get a savings and earnings report. Okay. Once you get the savings and earnings report, if you like your results, then you can also set up a consultation with us and see how you can implement the strategies and the technology to come up with those results. We guarantee the results we give you for a lifetime. We guarantee it. If you decide to do business with us and come on board as a P.I.L.L Method client, if we can't do what we promised, you get your money back. We either do what we say or you don't pay. That's right. We either do what we say or you don't pay. It is the only lifetime guarantee out there in anything like this that we're going to guarantee your results if you follow our program. You will never be stuck. You will never feel like, man, I didn't get the value out of this thing. Oh man, you will never have to refinance again. We got people who are paying off their third and fourth home on using this program. What does that mean? Even if you didn't mean to get into real estate investing, what happens when you pay off that first house and you want to get a second home? You put a renter in the first one. And now you got the second home and the renter is helping you to pay for your new home. Oh, well, what happens if you pay off that one? Now you got two and you get a third. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lifetime program. You pay for it once and you keep it forever. I've got people who are paying off mortgage after mortgage on this thing, and they are doing well. They are doing well. So get that. All right. Now, if you've heard, listen, have you heard something that will benefit you on this? Have you heard something today that will benefit you? Here's what I will need you to do next. Help me get the information out. Can you help me help others? I can't see everybody. I need as many eyes as I can possibly get on my YouTube channel. I need you to help me get eyes on the YouTube channel. How do you do that? You become an affiliate. Click on the button that says become an affiliate, fill this out, put in your name, put in your phone number, put in your email address, and tell me how you want to get paid. Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal. Just click on one of them. All right. Takes less than 15 seconds to sign up for free. And when you find someone who definitely is tired of doing things the old way and they want to do it the new way and pay off all of their debt in about 7 to 9 years, have them look at my YouTube channel. Watch some of the videos. There you go. Watch some of the videos. Call them back in a couple of days. And when you call them back, ask them. Now, don't take more than 48 hours because the interest goes way down after 48 hours. Okay. Call them back and then ask them, do you still want more information? And they'll say, well, most of the time they'll say, yeah. Then you go down here and click on refer a friend. Click on refer a friend and then put their name in, their phone number, their email address, their zip code, and who referred them. You put your name and number in here. Okay. And then any other info. We just received a really good one last night. Okay. A really good one. I've already talked to this lady that we received, and she's so excited about this information because she saw the videos. Okay. You don't have to sell anything. Just point them to the videos. This video that I'm doing right now is going to go up on YouTube and they'll be able to watch that. Marry the house, date the rate. Stop dating around. All right. Marry the house and keep the house. All right. And pay the thing off. So here's what we're going to do. They sent that to me. All right. And then when we call them, then we're going to get them to do a savings and earnings report. Give us that information. If they like what they see, they'll become a client. And once they become a client, guess what? We'll pay you $300. Well, Don, what if we send you 2 in the same month? Well, the second one, we'll pay you $400 for that one. Well, what if we send you 3 in the same month? For the third one, we'll pay you $500. What if we send you 4 in the same month? For the fourth one, we'll pay you $600 for the fourth one. What if we get really excited and we send you 5 in 1 month? That fifth one will pay you $1,200 for that one. That's a total of $3,000. Folks, this is the most lucrative referral program out there, affiliate program out there that you don't have to sell anything. We do all of the work. You just find people who want to watch our videos and like the videos and then send us the information. You can't get better than that. All right? You can't get better than that. And here's the last thing I want to talk to you about. get my book. All right. You want to get the book, and let me pull up a a picture of my book here. Let's put that on the screen. Boom. All right, there it is. And you can get that by going to ice10k.com and clicking on buy the book, and you can get the book as well. Start learning these concepts and start teaching your children. Pretty soon, it's not going to be too long, but pretty soon, if you want to be an interest cancellation expert, we are going to be doing classes on how to become an interest cancellation expert, and what that means for helping individuals. And we'll show you what that means in terms of adding to your bottom line each month by helping individuals save hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest they don't have to pay. There you go. So do I have any questions or comments? All right. I'm looking in the chat here. All right. So we talked about that's tired. Marry the house and date the rate. Don't believe it. We've talked about that today. We talked about how to get my book. We talked about how to become a let me get this off the screen. Okay. How to become a referral agent, how to become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method. And we also talked about how to get your own savings and earnings report from the P.I.L.L method absolutely free. Folks, today is going to be, unless I get any questions, today is going to be a short show. All right. All right. Let me take a look at my comments, but tell me if you like what you've heard today. All right. If you like what you heard today, put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat for me today. If you like what you've heard today and you'd like to know more about what's going on in this industry that we're being taught to do that is actually working against us. Christina Daniels says number 9. Anybody else? Anybody else? Brooklyn Style says number 9. Thank you. Veronica puts a number 9. She's watching us on YouTube. All right. So Brooklyn, thank you so much for being here this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely love what I do. But it's important. I'm going to end the show with this. Let me get this off the screen, because that's Dr. Eric Thomas that you see there right now. Okay. We're going to bring him back at the end so that he can tell you his experience with the P.I.L.L method in just a little bit. But let's take that off the screen. It is so important to me to get this information out and to have people watch these videos that we'll do whatever we need to do to spread the word. I need your help. Okay. Whether you sign up to be an affiliate or not. Okay. Some of you are not interested in that. Some of you are. Okay. Either way, share these videos with family and friends. It costs you nothing to share the videos. Costs you nothing. Share the videos so that people can know they don't have to do it that way. Now, here's what's going to happen. There's basically 2 types of people out there right now. There are people who are dissatisfied with how they're paying back their debt. They're dissatisfied with it. Those are the people that are going to gravitate towards these videos. There are people out there that are more than satisfied with how they're handling their finances. They're not interested in this. So if they show you that they're not interested, stop. Just stop. Okay? Because they're not interested. They are okay with what they're doing. And if they're okay, I'm okay. But if you find someone who's not okay with what they're doing, they want something different, they want something better, point them to the videos so that they can get something better. If you are an affiliate, we will pay you for that, because that's how we show our appreciation. So anyway, let's get ready to get out of here. I'm going to be back here on Friday for another show. And here's what, while we're getting ready for that, if you have an idea for a show, put it in the chat right now. Is there something you would like for me to talk about on the next show, and I can prepare it? All right. So go ahead. If you have an idea of something that you'd like to see, put it in the comment section. If you're watching us online, if you're in Clubhouse, go ahead and put it in the chat section. All right. And then let me know what you would like to talk about, and I'll be glad to talk about it. But I would be very, very happy if anybody in Clubhouse would just raise their hand and come up to the stage and tell us what you thought about today's show while people are putting their ideas in. Somebody raise your hand and come up to the stage and tell us what you thought about the show, or any comment about what you're learning here. All right. Anybody? All right. All right. Brooklyn Style says down payment options. Down payment options. Okay. All right. Let's talk about that on Friday. All right. Let's see. Let's see. The bridge. Derica says getting approved for a 700K mortgage. 700K. Is that what you want to talk about? As a subject, or are you telling me that's something that's happening with you, Derica? All right. And if you are getting approved for a 700K mortgage, let's show you how you can save a ton of interest on it. If you want to see how all of that works, using a 700K. So here's I can combine the two ideas. Okay. I can talk about the two ideas: down payment options and the 700K mortgage. All right. Down payment options and the 700K mortgage. All right. All right. Let's see. I see you, Derek. I just want to talk about it. Okay. How to do it. Mortgage. So let's combine the two ideas on Friday. And my niece has an idea. What if you're not in the mortgage yet, but want to start off with this information you're teaching? Okay. All right. Listen, I can handle all three of those on Friday. Okay. Not in a mortgage yet. Okay. I'm writing this down yet, but you want to take advantage of this information. Take advantage. Okay. How do you take advantage? Listen, folks, that's the best time to get a hold of me, is before you get into the mortgage. So I got these three ideas: down payments, 700K mortgage, how to get qualified for that, and you're not in a mortgage yet, but you want to take advantage of this information. You better believe now is the time. If you don't have a mortgage, now is the time to really get a hold of us before you get there, because setting up the loan is more than half the battle. Do you know, I had one gentleman, I'll tell you this story before we call on Dr. Eric Thomas. I had one gentleman who actually got pre-approved, very good credit, got pre-approved for a lower interest rate. But because of his job, he gets bonuses, okay? Hefty bonuses. He asked for a higher interest rate. He got approved for a lower one and asked for a higher one. How about that? Okay? So, and the reason why is because he gets these bonuses. The higher interest rate gave him a smaller principal payment, and his bonuses helped him to get deeper into his amortization schedule faster and save a lot more money because he chose the higher interest rate. Man, oh man, once you understand this, you can make this whole system work for you and not against you. So Christina, I think you're on your way to work. I'm trying to get you to come to the stage. Oh, there you are. How you doing, Christina?
Oh, am I on? Oh, I am on. So yeah, I am on my way to work. I'm about to walk out the door, but I was like, let me join on Clubhouse so I could still listen as I drive in.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here. All right. So did you have anything else you'd like to tell the folks?
I don't. I'm just trying to take it all in and learn as much as everybody else. I don't want any misconceptions. Like, you are my uncle. I've known you my whole life, but I haven't been a part of this, and I'm still trying to work out my side of the things. But it makes sense. I like numbers. The math is there. I'm not paying my mortgage for 29 more years. I just can't. And the time I can pay my mortgage off completely, I can have two other ones and have income property and be set up for everything I need to set up for me and my son. So that is the goal, that is the plan, and that's why I'm.
And we're going to help you to get there. We're going to help you to get there. Thank you for being here this morning. So anybody else want to come
Of
to this?
course.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come to the stage to leave us any final thoughts before we get out of here today? I hope this was in. If you came in late, make sure you watch the replay. Make sure you watch the replay if you came in late. All right. And stop this idea of marry the house, but date the rate. Makes absolutely no sense when you know the numbers. It only makes sense if you don't know how an amortization schedule actually works. Okay. Because the bank they're not your friend. They're not trying to save you money. They're trying to make money. And refinancing makes them a ton of money. If it didn't, they wouldn't be in the refinance game. All right. So find out what's really going on with that, ladies and gentlemen, and do something about it. Do something different. Learn how to borrow money at a discount. So final thing, go to ice10k.com. Okay. ice10k.com and click on get a savings and earnings report. That's number one. Number two, become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method and share the YouTube channel, the P.I.L.L method YouTube channel, with a lot of different people. And we're also going to be sending out everybody who signs up as an affiliate will get emails for affiliate training. Okay. You're going to get affiliate training also. And then number three, get the book. All of those things are on my ice10k.com card. And I'm looking and okay. So Friday, down payment, 700K mortgage, but not in a mortgage yet. All right. We're going to be talking about that on Friday. And come back on Friday if you have some other ideas so that we can talk about those things as well. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Let's go ahead and get ready to listen to Dr. Eric Thomas and see what he has to say about his mortgage and how he and his wife dealt with things. Okay. See you on Friday, everybody.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.